Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is Monday. I hope you all are doing well. We're going to sit down and talk about the latest news, transfer rumours, transfer news reports, all of that stuff today as Everton close in on a transfer for PSG midfielder Idrissa Gueye to bring the midfielder back to Everton Football Club after, I believe, 3 years as a PSG player. It might be 2 years, actually. My maths might be a little bit wrong on that one. We've literally just had an update as of 5 minutes ago. I'd set the live stream up, ready to talk about this, ready to talk about the latest, and then bang, we have another update again coming from Fabrizio Romano, as well as the bobble, of course. And that update is that Idrissa Gueye is on Merseyside in order to undergo his medical tests and sign as new Everton player. The deal is in place with Paris Saint-Germain, just final details to be resolved. Gueye has already accepted, waiting for the final steps, and then here we go. That was, of course, from Fabrizio Romano. The Bobbles tweet read, as first reported, Everton and PSG are now imminently expected to reach an agreement for the transfer of midfielder Idrissa Gueye. Personal terms are being finalised, with the midfielder due on Merseyside for a medical ahead of his return to the Toffee. So there's a little bit of difference in both tweets there. However, Fabrizio Romano's tweet does directly quote the bobble, so maybe that's just a little bit of mistranslation. However, one thing that is common with both of those tweets is they suggest that Idrissa Gueye will complete his move to Everton Football Club over the coming days and will be Frank Lampard's fourth summer signing, of course, confirming his return to Everton. This comes, days after the reports were first put out there that Everton were interested in a move for Idrissa Gueye. Last night, we heard from Fabrizio Romano that Everton were closing in on a deal to bring the midfielder back to Everton. Final details will be discussed this week, and the club's now negotiating a permanent deal. Lampard wants Gueye, now optimistic after talks last Thursday. Paul Joyce yesterday said that Everton are looking to finalise a permanent deal to sign Idrissa Gueye from PSG as Lampard targets midfield reinforcements. And then, of course, we had the likes of Greg O'Keefe and Fabrizio Romano even earlier in the week saying that Everton, of course, are interested. But as things stand at the moment, as of less than 10 minutes ago, according to Fabrizio Romano, Idrissa Gueye is in Merseyside in order to undergo his medical tests and sign as a new Everton player. The deal is in place with PSG, and it's only the final details that need to be resolved. The player himself, being Garner, of course, has accepted to rejoin Everton. And from what we've known over the last couple of days or so, Garner has wanted to come back to Everton. Everton have wanted to bring Garner back to the football club. Frank Lampard has wanted to bring Garner back to the football club, and PSG have been wanting to get him off of their wage bill and get him moved out the football club as well. So it's really been a deal where there haven't been any sort of problems from any side. There's not been one party who is sort of a bit like not really sure on it, and another party is sure on it. It seems like everybody has been working in the same direction as of for this transfer. And the only, I think, detail or maybe stumbling block has probably been whether or not this is going to be a loan or a permanent deal. Now, as I said yesterday, Fabrizio Romano, a couple of days ago, Fabrizio Romano actually put a tweet out saying that PSG want almost full salary paid for Gueye to join Everton, and the clubs are in negotiations to find a way. And I'm led to believe through another source that I won't name that he's on quite a fair bit at PSG. However, that tweet also did report that all parties are interested in the move. And whilst it doesn't confirm that this will be a permanent deal, Fabrizio Romano did say yesterday that the final details are being discussed and it's now being negotiated that it will be a permanent deal. And obviously the tweet earlier on today, as of 10 minutes ago, doesn't mention any sort of loan or loan with an option to buy. So whether or not this is going to be a permanent deal which involves a fee, whether or not it's going to be a permanent deal which involves a termination of Garner's contract, or whether or not it's going to be a loan with an option to buy or an obligation to buy at the end of it, as I said, it's a little bit up in the air at the moment, but I'm sure we'll find that information out over the course of the next 24 hours or so. I fully expect to be sat here tomorrow with another update regarding Idrissa Gueye. In fact, I've got a feeling that I'll be sat here tomorrow doing an announcement video of Idrissa Gueye's return to Everton Football Club. Yeah, listen, I had my words on this sort of situation a couple of days ago, and obviously we'll talk about it again. He is 32 years old, obviously Senegalese midfielder, moved to PSG at a time when I think we all sort of admitted that he'd outgrown Everton Football Club, done it in a really, really professional way. I remember him wanting to leave in January that year. However, the club effectively said to him, listen, we can't afford to let you go. You're our best midfielder. You are pivotal to the way in which we play, which obviously we found out when he left the football club that he was, because we still haven't replaced him. In fact, we replaced him with Jean-Philippe Gbamin, who through no fault of his own hasn't had a great career at Everton through injury and stuff, and I dare say we're about to replace Jean-Philippe Gbamin with Idrissa Gueye, which is a bit mad. But when he left Everton, I don't think any of us really had a problem. As I said, the way in which he did it very professionally. He didn't sulk, he didn't sort of spit his tummy, he didn't demand that he left at a certain point, otherwise he wasn't going to play. He asked to leave in January. He was basically told no, that isn't going to work for us. He got his head down, he worked hard, he fought for the team, he finished the season strongly, and then obviously he left in the summer. Of course, he is 33 years old now. If you look at some of his honours over his career, he has won the African Cup. Of course, he's won Ligue 1 3 times in his career, won the French Cup 3 times, as well as a couple of other trophies, French Super Cup winner, French Cup winner, etc, etc. If we have a little bit of look at his stats from last season, obviously we know what type of footballer Idrissa Gueye is, so we're not expecting a ridiculous amount of goals and assists. But one thing I can say is that when I've watched them for PSG, over the last sort of couple of years or so, he tends to have been a much better goal scorer than what he ever was at Everton. He never really contributed an awful lot with goals at Everton Football Club. He got the odd one here and there, but I remember watching him a couple of times for PSG, and some of the goals he was scoring, he scored one in a Champions League quarter-final or semi-final, if I'm not mistaken, against Manchester City, and it was a beautiful, beautiful goal. And as I said, I've not watched them an awful lot for PSG, but the times I have watched them in European competitions, he's been excellent, and he's often been man of the match in those games as well. Still very much got an engine. Ultimately still very much got the power and the pace to be able to do it in the Premier League. Whether or not he'll be able to do it at the level that he was doing it before he left Everton, before he joined PSG, when he was last at Everton, I don't know. That's obviously a question that we'll only find the answer to, but we are talking about a player who, at the time of being at Everton Football Club, was probably only second to N'Golo Kante in his position. There was a massive argument that he was one of the best defensive midfielders in world football, hence why PSG, who at the time, were going for the Champions League, and, let's be honest, PSG weren't strengthening to win the French League because they win it every year. They've won it the last 9 out the last 10 years or something. They were bringing Idrissa Gueye in to try and be the difference between them winning the Champions League or not winning it, and obviously that hasn't happened, and I'm not saying that's down to Idrissa Gueye, but that just shows how good of a footballer, how good of a midfielder, and how special he was in his position. Now, obviously, there's various different midfielders now that fill that type of role. Rodri at Man City, you've got Fabinho at them lot, Jorginho in a similar position as well as a number of other centre midfielders, Yves Bissouma who fit a similar sort of role. So whether or not Idrissa Gueye will be able to sit in and do what he could do 3 years ago, we'll wait and see. But I don't think there's a question that Idrissa Gueye infinitely improves Everton Football Club, and this, I suppose, is sort of it's my issue with this transfer. If I'm being perfectly honest with you, don't get me wrong, I think Ghana improves us, and I'm happy to see him come back in that sense, because we simply haven't got anybody like him. Obviously, I'm basing this off of the Gueye that we knew before he left Everton Football Club, and as I said, he's done relatively well at PSG. I dare say the reason they're wanting to get rid of him is because of his wages and his age. But like I said, every time I've watched him, although I haven't watched him an awful lot, he's looked good. He's been a part of the team. He's when I've watched him against top teams in important Champions League games, he hasn't by any sense of the imagination shied away or been in the shadows. He's often come out of those performances, with a man of the match performance, or with a goal, or with a really, really important, couple of challenges and stuff in there. So I don't think it's a case of him not being good enough. I think it's probably just a smart financial business decision by PSG, which again is part of the issue with Everton Football Club, isn't it? We don't make smart financial business decisions. And look, people will say to me, Cam, don't be negative, don't be downbeat, don't be bringing the mood down. You know, see it for what it is. It's a player that comes in, worked his arse off for the football club previously, clearly has an affection with the football club and the fans, and ultimately will improve us. And I get that. I really do get that. But I just can't look past the sheer disgrace of a recruitment service that Everton have had over recent years, in the sense that we are replacing Idrissa Gueye with Idrissa Gueye. Now, I know the club, you know, ultimately had, you know, couldn't do anything in regards to Jean-Philippe Gbamin. He was brought in to replace Ghana, and in a different world, in a different universe, maybe would have been the players to come in and replace Idrissa Gueye. Injuries are nobody's fault, not his, not the club's, not the manager's. It is what it is, and it was unlucky. But for me, we should have been replacing Jean-Philippe Gbamin after his first season. After his first season, which he played, 20 minutes of a game of football and then was out for the rest of the season. If we had a good recruitment team, if we knew what we were doing, if the football club was ran like a proper football club, they'd have gone out and they'd have replaced Jean-Philippe Gbamin the next summer as well. And even this summer, listen, I know we've all got an affection with Idrissa Gueye, and I know there's a massive hype around it. And listen, I'm not by any sense of the imagination saying I don't want it to happen, or I'm devastated, or I don't think he improves us. I'm under no illusions that Idrissa Gueye improves our midfield. He adds infinite amounts of athleticism and pace in there as well. But it's not hard, is it? My nan is faster than Andre Gomez and turns better than Andre Gomez, and she's 87 years old. So it's not difficult to improve Everton's midfield, but I understand it, and I'm not sitting here saying, I don't want him, he's not good enough, this, that and the other. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, does anybody else just get the feeling of, well, why weren't Everton going out and bringing in an 18-year-old who plays in a similar fashion to Idrissa Gueye, or a 19 or a 20-year-old? Because there's players out there. You can't tell me there's not players in Spain, Italy, France, Germany who are 19, 20 years old and can play in that same position as Idrissa Gueye, and instead of coming in for the immediate future, would be here for 5, 6, 7 years and would be doing the job that Idrissa Gueye was doing when he first joined from Aston Villa, when he was, 25, 26 years old, even younger. That's the sort of big issue I have with this deal. Is it's not the player, it's not the fact he doesn't improve Everton, it's the short-termism of it, it's the laziness of it. That's what and that's all I feel this is. I just look at Everton's recruitment at the minute, and I just feel it's lazy. Even the Dwight McNeil deal, which I was a big fan of. I sat here, last week and said that, ultimately, Dwight McNeil improves Everton. I said I think he'll score 10 goals next season. And listen, I'm not just saying this because of the game on Friday. Go and watch the videos from last week. I said I've got a good feeling about Dwight McNeil. I think Dwight McNeil will be a success at Everton, and I'm not slating that deal. But again, he's a player from the Premier League who has got potential, is young. It just doesn't seem like there's been much thought gone into it. The Vinagre deal knows Kevin Thelwell. I'm not saying Kevin Thelwell should go out and buy players he doesn't know and take risks on, but I just look at Everton's recruitment and just think that I just look at it and think, is there any real thought that goes into it, or is it just who do we know? And who do we know could, like the Ross Barkley situation, and the Ross Barkley stuff is quieting down at the moment. And if you believe, if you believe the reports currently that are going about, that Everton aren't chasing a deal for Ross Barkley now. Listen, that might be the situation now. I still think Ross Barkley will be an Everton player come the end of this transfer window, and that's not based off anything I know, or based off anything I've heard, or based off any in-the-know information. That's just my opinion, is that I think Ross Barkley will be an Everton player by the end of this transfer window. I just do. And again, that's lazy recruitment. And the Ghana deal, look, people will back it because people will say, ultimately, he comes in, he improves us, he works hard, he loves the club, and he was brilliant last time. And I agree with it all. And it's not Ghana that's my problem. And listen, if Ghana comes in, gives us 2 or 3 years, which is very possible. Gareth Barry did it at his age, come into Everton and give us a couple of really, really good years. In fact, his first season, he was unbelievable. Then it works. Then you can all sit there and say, haha, look at that, can't wipe it in your face. But what happens post-Ghana? What happens in 3 years when we're needing to replace Ghana? Are we going to have the recruitment team in play to go and bring in a replacement for Ghana? What I would say is, I sincerely hope, and this isn't being negative for negative, for no reason. This is me. Ultimately, I don't know. I'm a kid from Walton, a Scouse kid from Walton, 23 years old. I work for my dad doing business admin. I haven't got the next clue about how to run a multi-billion pound business. I haven't got that. I'm not a multi-billionaire. I've got, I've got enough. I'm doing well. I'm very lucky, but I'm not a multi-billion pound business owner. But I would sincerely hope that with this Garner deal, Everton are also going, okay, we've got Garner back in, brilliant. Does what we need him to do, fills that space and improves us infinitely, as I said, because he does sound excellent. No big issue with that whatsoever. But what we're now going to do is we're now going to go out and look for somebody that can ultimately come in and do Garner's job, who is a lot younger, who is maybe not as well known, will cost us a little bit of money because Garner's obviously, assuming Garner's going to cost us very little because of our financial situations, will cost us a little bit of money. His wages will be, the new player's wages will be practically nothing because he'll be a bit of an unknown entity, and then we'll integrate him with Garner. Because what I want to see is Idrissa Gueye playing every game for Everton next season, absolutely sound, having a great season. But when we start to look at Garner and think, oh, he's 34 this year, he's 35 next year, he might still be part of Everton's team, he might still be part of Everton's starting lineup, sound. But is it only me that thinks that we should then have a young lad who's coming in and filling that space as well? And yet you could say, well, that might be Lewis Warrington. Yet you could say, well, that might be Isaac Price, or that, Gbamin might have come into his own by then. Listen, Gbamin for me, I don't think will ever be a success at Everton. I'm sorry if you don't want to hear it, if you think it's negative, Gbamin won't have a career at Everton, in my opinion. If I'm wrong, I'll hold my hands up. Lewis Warrington, potentially, but at the moment he's not good enough. So Frank Lampard might be able to sit there across the table from me and say, well, Cam, we've already got this in place because we've got a couple of young players who we're going to integrate in that same way. Fine, we'll show it then. Because when we sold Garner, we didn't have a player to come in and replace him. We had to go and buy a player that, unfortunately ended up with 33,000 injuries, and we've never been able to use him. But he wasn't already at the club, was he? He wasn't integrated in. And this is all part of recruitment. It's not just about selling players and then when you've sold them going, shit, what do we do now? Shit, we've sold Richarlison, how do we replace him? Shit, we've sold Garner, how do we replace him? Because that's when other teams go, these need a player, so we're going to add 15 million onto our price tag for our man. Or we're going to try and wriggle them out for as much as they've got for our man. And that's how you get into that's when you get into a financial shit tip like we're in now. It's the same with every position, not just Garner's position. It's the same with every position. I want us to go out and buy a top, ultimately, I don't know, young centre-half to come in and maybe work under him. And okay, you could say Reece Welsh or, a couple of the other young lads. But I just, again, listen, I'm not just sitting here to try and say it to be negative or to try and bring anybody down. Garner infinitely improves Everton. Of course he does. And that's important in the now. And I appreciate that and I understand that. And that's one thing I will say is I think this summer transfer window, it was all about the now for me. It was all about bringing in players that improve us instantly. Because where we were last season, we can't really afford to bring in players that might be good in 2 or 3 years, might be good in 4 or 5 years. I get that. I'm not saying we shouldn't have brought in Garner. We should have brought in somebody who was a bit of a risk. I just think when we sold Garner, we should have already had somebody in place now where we'd have looked at Garner and go, he's 33 years old, we'll bring him in, he'll be a squad player, but, ultimately we're not reliant on him because we are reliant on him. That's the reality of the situation. We're reliant on Idrissa Gueye to come in and be able to do the job he could do 3 or 4 years ago. And will he be able to do that? None of us know. We hope he will, and I hope he will. We all hope he will. Will he be able to? We'll wait and see. How much has the Premier League changed over the last 3 years or so? Well, I've just literally said 5 minutes ago, when Idrissa Gueye played for Everton, there was only really N'Golo Kante who was in the league, who was doing that job, who was doing it as good, if not better, than Idrissa Gueye. Other than N'Golo Kante, it was Garner. He was the best at it. If you are enjoying, by the way, please hit that like button. It only takes a second. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe. Now you've got Fabinho, you've got Jorginho, who's plays in a different role but similar. You've got Rodri in there. You've got 5, 6, 7 players. Basuma in there as well, who, Declan Rice is in a similar position. Calvin Phillips in a similar position, who do work in that role. And I do think Idrissa Gueye will be able to sit in and do a good job for us, because I think he's athletic enough. I think he's kept himself in a good sort of professional shape and way of, athleticism and stuff. And I do think he'll be able to come in and ultimately do the job that we need him to do. For how long, I don't know. But I do think he'll be able to do it, and that's fine. And as I said, I appreciate that we're in a bit of a position this summer where it's very much players for the now, the in the now. And listen, Garner, as I said, infinitely improves us. I've got no doubt about that whatsoever. And I'm happy with the fact that we're bringing in a player that infinitely improves us, because he does. He ultimately does. But my big sort of point on this, and it's not to be negative, but listen, this channel is for saying how I feel. I'll never come on here and sit here and put a mask on and say, oh yeah, amazing this, I made up, this is the best business Everton Football Club have ever done, with the best thing, and then turn the steam off and go, oh, hell, I'm not unhappy with Garner coming back. I'm not unhappy with him being the type of player that we need. I'm unhappy with the fact that we're reliant on bringing back a player who we sold for £30 million as a 30-year-old and didn't replace ultimately. And you can give me your Gabam stuff all you like. Gabam should have been replaced after a year, when it was clearly evident that, his injury was going to have an impact on his future career. Why does this football club do everything reactively? Why is there no proactiveness about this football club whatsoever? And as I said, bring Garner in, absolutely sound. But if I was to sit down and have a message with Kevin Thelwell, I'd be saying, well, who's the next Garner? Because we failed to identify the next Garner last time out, and that's why we're bringing Garner back. We can't do it again, because the next time he'll be 37, 38 years old, and he won't be playing football. So, yeah, listen, again, I didn't want to make it, I don't want to make it negative, and this isn't about Garner as a player, or me not believing Garner is good enough or will improve us, because I think he will. It's just about, again, I don't think we can let the club and the board, specifically the board, get away with it being, oh my God, look who's back. And Jungle says we can't afford the next Garner, but we can afford the next Garner, can't we? Because there's players out there that Garner cost us £6 million or something like that, £6 million when he come in from Villa. He was the best defensive midfielder in the league. Defensive midfielders don't tend to cost that much. Calvin Phillips is one of the best in the world, and he's just gone for £50 million, which is a massive amount of money. But is it a massive amount of money in the grand scheme of things? Is it really? How much did Fabinho cost Liverpool? How much did Jorginho cost Chelsea? And they're the best in the world. I'm not saying we can go out and buy the best in the world. What I'm saying is we can go out and buy a lad that can potentially become somewhere near that for cheap. There's a whole load of them. Sangari, Czech Decore's just gone to Palace, who's a great signing. I would have loved Everton to have gone for him. Again, as I said, I'm not willing personally to sit here and let Everton's board go, oh, look at how amazing this is. Listen, Frank Lampard wants some sound. I've got no issue with Frank Lampard, because he's, I think Frank Lampard's looking at this in a sense of, we need players for the now. And if Garner wants to come back, last time he was here, he done a great job. The fans love him. He'll have that connection already. Sound, bring him back. No issue with that. As I said, I've got no issue with that whatsoever. No issue with Kevin Thelwell thinking the same thing, because they're recently here. What I have got an issue with is if Kevin Thelwell now goes, Sound, I'll put my feet up now. We've got Garner. We've got a defensive midfielder. Instead of going, well, actually, in 2 or 3 years, he's going to be coming towards the end of his career, whether or not it's retirement or just not quick enough or good enough or agile enough to do it anymore. We need to have somebody that is already there to step in, that's already there to make that transition, not get to that point and then go, shit, we need a Garner replacement, because that's when teams go, these need a DM. These need a quick, athletic defensive midfielder. So this lad that we've got is now going to cost them 15 million more because of how desperate they are for it. Garner is the perfect player, by the way. The perfect player to be a mentor to a young player that is playing in that position or wants to play in that position. Whether that be Lewis Warrington or whether that be somebody we bring in elsewhere. The perfect player, because he's a top professional. He's great at that job. And as I said, he in his time 3 or 4 years ago was one of the best in world football, if not at one point the best in world football. Jack says, lad, seems like you're trying to change other people's moods on the Garner return. I'm not at all trying to change people's moods on the Garner return. Feel how you like about anything. I don't try and change anybody's mood about anything, mate. I'm giving my opinion on not the Ghana return, on Everton, how it's being run as a football club. If you disagree with me, that's fine. I've very simply said Ghana Gueye ultimately improves our midfield, and I'm happy with the fact he improves our midfield, and I understand the necessity for a player that instantly improves us. But what I'm saying is, when Idrissa Gueye left, we weren't fighting relegation. So I'm not willing to sit here and let Everton's board go, boss, this Ghana's back, wait, they've made up, and then go, fucking hell, thank fuck for that, we've got away with one there because we didn't replace him when we should have 3 years ago, or 2 years ago after we brought Gabama in. It, ultimately, yeah, as I said, listen, people are made up with it, and that's sound, because I think Idrissa Gueye is a fantastic player, and was a fantastic player when he was at Everton Football Club. His stats last season: 26 games for PSG, 3 goals, 1 assist, scored 1 goal in the Champions League in 7, 28 games previously, 2 goals, 1 assist. Obviously, listen, he's a defensive midfielder. He's not going to be scoring a ridiculous amount of goals, is he? He's not going to be getting a ridiculous amount of assists. He's ultimately a defensive-sided player. His defensive stats are fantastic. Of course they are. They were fantastic at Everton, and he's contracted until next summer. And all of that is absolutely fine. And as I said, I'm happy with Ghana returning because he's got a relationship with the fans. He gave everything when he was here, and he ultimately improved us tenfold. It's not necessarily about whether or not I'm happy about Ghana returning. It's about, I'm not happy to sit here and go, look at how boss Everton's board are, look at how boss Mashiri is, look at how boss Bill Kenwright is, because they've brought Ghana back. Because again, this is the type of just awful business, not bringing Ghana back, but having to bring Ghana back is the type of awful business that has got us in the position that we are, ultimately. And yeah, listen, as I said, as a player, listen, the positives are he infinitely improves Everton Football Club, as I've said. Fantastic defensive midfielder. We haven't got anybody like him. Even if Gabama was 100% fit, I don't think he's like Ghana. I think he's a bit more of a natural sort of central midfielder rather than a defensive midfielder. So even with a full fit Gabama, I still think there's an argument that Idrissa Gueye would be needed in this team. Or a player of Idrissa Gueye's sort of ilk, which are few and far between. By the way, there's not many top ones, at least that are sort of known out there at the moment. Yeah, he obviously is 45,000 times the player that Andre Gomez is. He's better than Tom Davis in that area. He's different to Abdoulaye Doucouré, and I actually think Idrissa Gueye coming back will allow Abdoulaye Doucouré to be used in a little bit more of an offensive manner, offensive manner, not offensive manner, by Frank Lampard. I think Doucouré's spoken previously about feeling like he can give more as a sort of box-to-box midfielder, a midfielder that gets involved goal-scoring wise more. We saw at the start of last season, he was a massive threat in front of goal, and then all of a sudden when we started losing, Rafa Benitez dropped them back and sort of tried to make him play the Ghana role, and I just don't think he can do that role, because that's not the type of midfielder he is. He's a bulldozing box-to-box midfielder who can get involved with goals, get involved with creativity, but also can get back and do that job if need be. Whereas Ghana is very sort of, he's just a powerhouse, he's just an athlete. He'll get about the pitch, he'll break up the play, he'll put the challenges in, he'll sit in front of the defence. He's the reason as to why, he's the type of player that a team like PSG would pay 30-odd million for in his prime to be the difference between them winning major competitions and not winning them. So it's a great signing to have back for what we need, and as I said, by Frank Lampard, I think to bring him back as a player we need for the immediate season, given where we finished last season, I've got no issue with whatsoever, and I think it's a smart move. I do think it's a smart move. Whether or not Garner will be able to do what he used to do, we'll wait and see. We all hope he will. But one thing's for sure is, I think with any transfer at the moment, you've got to look at it and you've got to think, does this player get into Everton's team every week? And Idrissa Gueye gets in every week. I don't know where he gets in, because now Frank Lampard has got to make a decision. Is it Garner and Doucouré? is a Wobie. Saw a Wobie play there on Friday in the pre-season friendly against Dynamo Kiev. I wasn't massively impressed with him in this. I don't think he's a midfielder. But then if you're playing Garner and Decore, where does Wobie fit in that? Because let's not forget, you've now got Dwight McNeil, Anthony Gordon, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Damari Gray. There's already too many players there to fill the rest of the positions. So what formation do we play with now? Are we still going to go with the 5 at the back? Are we going to go 4-3-3? If so, who's the other midfielder? Is it going to be Alex Iwobi? If that's the case, where does Dele fit in? Who I forgot to mention then. Listen, there's options, and I think that is good to have options. But one thing I will say is I do think Garner will start every week, or certainly most weeks, as he should. Because, as I said, we haven't got a player like him. We haven't got a player like him, and we haven't had a player like him since he left. Even Gabaman, as I said, who was supposed to be his replacement, and obviously we haven't seen enough of Gabaman to determine whether or not he would have been a good enough replacement. But I don't even think Gabaman is a Garner type player. I think he's probably the most similar that we've got at the club to Garner. But I don't necessarily think he's exactly that type of profile, exactly that type of player. So, listen, again, for anybody that's watched this and thought, he doesn't want Garner back, he's a knobhead, I'm happy. Listen, I'm satisfied with the fact that we've brought a player back who is very good for Everton. I think will be very good for us again. Is athletic, is exactly the type of profile that we need, and is exactly the type of player that we need in order to effectively ensure that we're not in the same position as we were this season, next season. However, I refuse to look past the sheer neglect in recruitment that Everton have had over the last however many years since Idrissa Gueye left the football club, and I do worry that a lot of our recruitment is lazy. Where was our efforts to sign Cheikh Doucouré, who, had we have signed, we wouldn't be needing to go after Garner? Not that I don't want Garner back as well, but imagine having Garner and Cheikh Doucouré in there, who Palace have just signed for £18 million or whatever it was. I just, again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong for looking at this in a sense of, why are we in this position? No, why are we bringing Garner back? Because he's shite. He's not shite. He's very clearly not shite. And ultimately, he was brilliant when he was here, and he massively improves us now. It's more, why are Everton shite? Why is the board shite? Why is the recruitment shite? But some people will want to look past that because it's Garner, and they love him, and he's great, and he loves the club, and he was professional, and he's this, and he's that, and he's the other, and that's fine. If you want to look past that, that's fine. But when we have these discussions in 12 months' time about how the recruitment isn't good enough, or the people at the top of the football club aren't good enough again, these are the types of things that people will bring up, and these are the types of things that people will talk about. And I get that we've got to be positive, and you can only be positive going into a new season. I get that. Look, Everton Roses in the comments says 4 years on, we're replacing Garner with a sort of surprised face. Listen, again, I know full well. Am I going mad? If you're watching live in the comments, there's 150 odd people watching. Please get the likes up. By the way, there's only 30 odd likes. If you could get the likes up, that would be a massive, massive amount to me. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, because we're aiming towards 7,000 subscribers. Answer me this then, everybody in the comments. Am I wrong to feel the way I feel, or do you understand where I'm coming from? Do you understand that it's not that I'm not happy with Garner coming back, or I don't think he improves us, or he's not good enough, or I'm not happy with this transfer? I think actually the business Everton have done this summer, in a sense of players improving the team, has been relatively good. I think Vinagre comes in and infinitely improves the squad, because he's a better player than Niles Nkunku, and ultimately, has already shown in his brief spell that he can get down the line, he can create chances. I think Dwight McNeil is a really good sign, and I said that the other day. I say it now, I said it the other day. I think he's a brilliant sign. I think he'll do really well at Everton. I think Tarkowski's a fantastic signing as well. I think Idrissa Gueye as a player is a good player to bring in. But I'm not willing to allow Everton's board to go, wow, look at how boss we are. We've brought Garner back. Amazing, this, innit? Great, him. Garner's back. Brilliant. Because that's the type of things that everyone goes, yeah, that's a belter deal, that. And then the club just sit with their feet up for the next 3 years. And then when Garner ultimately gets to 36, 37 and can't play anymore, they go, right, shit, we've got to replace him now. instead of going, okay, we're bringing Garner in to fill that space now because we desperately need to fill that space now. But we know that in a couple of years, he probably isn't going to be able to do that. So let's go and bring in the next Garner, or let's really integrate Lewis Warrington into doing that role. Not send him on loan for the next 2 years, and then when Garner's not good enough to do it or leaves the club, say, right, okay, it's your go, Lewis. Integrate him into the team. Have him playing games with Garner. Have him coming on for Garner. Have him doing that role. Have him starting some games instead of Garner to give him a rest. There you go. Rose says, Garner is exactly what we need, but I'd like us to find the next Garner, if that makes sense. That's exactly my point. That's my point, Rose. And my point was, we never found the next Garner when Garner left, and we neglected it because we brought Gabama in and thought, I'd be amazing one day, when it was clear after the first season it wasn't going to happen for him. And even if it was going to happen for him, we should have still brought a replacement in because of his injuries. Jungle says, no, I understand, can't forgive the board. I get it, says Wonderlust. Royson says, the fact is finding a good midfielder for 10 million takes time. We don't have the finances. I just refuse to believe that there's not players out there we could get for relatively cheap that could come in and do that sort of job. Maybe not as good as Garner, but they don't need to be as good as Garner now. They only need to be young and then work with Garner to get as good as Garner. Whammy says, yeah, maybe Vinagre, but that come out of nowhere, no-brainer. Damien says, what do you think of this new sponsor, FanCurve? I don't really understand it, to be perfectly honest with you. If you're wondering what Damien's talking about, Everton revealed earlier today that we have signed a new deal with FanCurve, and the statement reads, we are delighted to announce a partnership with FanCurve to create digitally wearable shirts for supporters. Yes. I haven't got a fucking clue what it is, if I'm being honest with you, mate. Sorry about the language, but I have not got a clue about it. I would assume it's something along the similar lines of an NFT, whatever that means these days. But I don't know enough about it to sit here and comment on it, to be fair. If it's another company that are going to bring us a lot of money and are going to allow us to, somewhere down the line spend a little bit more because they're sponsoring us and giving us more, and it's a company that is decent enough in terms of their models and stuff, then that's fine. And I'm saying that because digitally wearable shirts for supporters sounds a little bit promiscuous, doesn't it? So that's why I'm saying that. But ultimately, it's another company that are giving us a load of money, I would assume, or certainly enough money to get a partnership with. So the more partnerships we have, the better, because it means the more money coming in. So yeah, where are we then? Hernandez says, I feel the same way. Garner makes us better. Whoever is running the transfers now is getting truly lazy with the players available. Do Everton not have international scouts? Exactly. Whammy says, McNeil, we will see. I think we bought at max value. I honestly think Dwight McNeil will be fantastic for Everton during his time. I really, really do. I do. And, I said it when he first signed a week ago before he made his debut, and I'll say it again. Frank is building from the back, which is good. Even his midfielders are all defensive qualities. Yeah, that's fair. But Frank is building for the now, which is fine because of where we were last season, and I get it, and I appreciate it, and I agree with it. But we've also got to build for the future as well. Put it this way, my point about this whole conversation, I'll put it in very simple layman's terms. This whole conversation can be summed up by me saying the likelihood is in 2 or 3 years, Idrissa Gueye isn't going to be at the level to start regularly. He might be, but at that time he's 35, 36 years old, playing centre midfield, running around in the Premier League. He's probably not going to be where we need him to be, starting every week. In 2 or 3 years' time, we move into the new stadium. I want to be sitting here with the new Idrissa Gueye, the next Idrissa Gueye, who's a 23, 24-year-old midfielder starting for Everton the season we move into Bramley-Moore. I think that's the easiest way to put it. Tom says, I like Gueye. I think we should get him, but Kante is class. Jungle says, Richarlison replacement, and I think we'll be well cleared of relegation. Hernandez says, Garner is not adding depth because he walks right into the starting 11, but the deadwood remains per usual. Yeah, I agree. I agree. The Vinagre deal is depth because obviously you've got Mikalenko there. I think the Dwight McNeil deal is depth because you've got other players that play in those positions. The Garner deal is not depth, is it? Because in an ideal world, Garner comes in and Gomez goes out. So it's not really depth. It's bringing a player that we need in. Gabba says, we will see on his first game if those players fulfilled everyone's expectations. We'll never find the next anything, says Wormy. Gabamanita just couldn't get healthy. No, listen, it's not his fault, and obviously injuries aren't his fault, and he can't help that, and I understand all of that, but my point is he won't. I just don't think he'll ever make it at Everton. If I'm wrong, I'll hold my hands up, but I don't think he'll ever make it at Everton. But yeah, look, there you go. Again, am I happy with Garner coming back? Yes, because he improves Everton, and ultimately this summer we needed to bring players in that will steer us well clear of where we were last season, because I don't think I can go through another season of Everton fighting relegation, and I think Garner will help do that. But all of my frustration comes with the fact that we're in this position in the first place, that we were in the position that we were in last season. I mean, it's all accumulated over the last sort of 24 months, hasn't it? Since Carlo Ancelotti left, and again, I'm not saying it would have been any different had he have stayed, but, you know, since Carlo left, we've got into this position where, you know, last summer we couldn't buy a Fredo. We spent 1.5 million quid, and we seem to be the only team in this position, by the way, in England. This season's very much the same. We can only spend what we make effectively. You know, we had to sell Luca Dean in January in order to afford to buy a couple of new fullbacks. We've had to sell Richarlison this summer in order to afford a couple of players. We're still scampering around for deals and offering teams little upfront fees because we're in a financial position. We've just survived relegation, which is the first time in my lifetime and a first time in a generation. And now it's very evident that the recruitment isn't what it should be, or certainly hasn't been what it should be. You know, again, this isn't Kevin Thelwell or Frank Lampard's fault, because they're only very new to the football club, and they'll be judged after, you know, at least a year or two. But it's just devastating, isn't it, for me, the way the club is being run. The Garner deal, yeah, comes in, improves us, sound. If he can be what he was 3 years ago, then absolutely great. Whether or not he will be, we'll wait and see. A couple of other transfers, rumours and news. One regarding Lewis Dobbin. According to Paddy Boylan at The Athletic, Lewis Dobbin is close to joining Derby County on loan for the season. Not surprised about this one, to be honest with you. As I said, I think similar with the Lewis Warrington situation, there was a decision that needed to be made on Lewis Dobbin. Was he going to remain with the squad and sort of be involved in terms of playing next to Dominic Calvert-Lewin and getting those opportunities and, you know, ultimately learning directly off Dominic Calvert-Lewin? Or was he going to go out on loan and almost, you know, try and get that experience somewhere else? Derby, of course, in League One, after being relegated last season. He is only 19, so I actually don't think this is too bad of a move. And ultimately, it's a test for Lewis Dobbin. It's a test for Lewis to go out there and score 10, 15 goals in League One next season. And then we'll then look at him and go, okay, do we loan him to the Championship, or no, we think he's ready to jump in the Premier League? But if Lewis Dobbin goes to the Championship and can't score, you know, let's say he scores 3, then Everton will probably look at him and go, League One, Everton will probably look at him and go, you're not going to be good enough to play in the Premier League then. So I actually don't think that's too bad of a move. Would I have liked to have seen him stay and being integrated in the first team? Yes, but I think it's a good move for him and for the club for him to go out on loan. Bobby Vincent, FL, who is a Chelsea writer for Football LDN, he reported yesterday that Everton are in talks with Chelsea to sign forward Michy Batshuayi. Everton are wanting a permanent deal. Now, I'm not too sure on that one, to be honest with you, on a number of reasons. I think Baz put a tweet out yesterday around a similar time, saying, it was today, in fact, a couple of hours ago, saying that he was told that the Batshuayi stuff is just speculation, and whether that changes may depend on other targets being available. But, as I said, speculation as opposed to any real sort of solid rumour. Listen, yeah, I'm not a big fan of Michy Batshuayi, to be honest with you. I heard somebody mention Kelechi Iheanacho earlier. I don't think it was a mention in terms of Everton being interested or being in talks with them. I think it was more of a mention of just he'd be a good signing for Everton. And listen, whether or not he's available, Leicester, I think, are in a bit of financial trouble at the moment. I don't know why, but they seem to be in a bit of financial trouble. I would rather Kelechi Iheanacho than Michy Batshuayi. Michy Batshuayi at one point had a lot of potential. He had, almost the sort of the hype around him that he was going to be a top Premier League striker, but he just hasn't lived up to that. As he hasn't lived up to it at Chelsea, which is fine because, ultimately Chelsea, it's a difficult club to make it at because of obviously all of the signings and all of the money they've spent over the years. But he didn't live up to it at Crystal Palace either, really. And again, if he was free and he was going to cost us nothing, then sound. And he didn't want much wages, then sound. But if he's going to cost us money, then I just think there's better options out there. And again, I think it would be quite lazy recruitment to go, oh yeah, we'll bring Michy Batshuayi in because he's a known player, he's a bit of a name. And yeah, I just think there's better deals out there. And other than that, there's not really much going on. Obviously, as I said earlier, The Athletic reported recently that Everton are they're not pursuing a deal for Ross Barkley as of now. Whether or not that changes, we will wait and see. We will wait and see, of course. But it wouldn't surprise me if it changed. Put it that way. It wouldn't surprise me if it changed. And that's not me knowing anything nobody else knows. I just know. You know what? In fact, it's me knowing Everton. It's me sort of using everything I've just spoke about in the last half an hour to form an opinion that I wouldn't be surprised if Ross Barkley was an Everton player by the end of this transfer window. But yeah, that is about it for today, I believe. There's not many more transfer rumours. There's a couple of bits and bobs here and there, but not really anything solid or, just sort of paper talk at the moment. The biggest being, it looks like Idrissa Gueye will become Frank Lampard's fourth signing of the summer. Are you happy? Are you not happy? Do you agree with me? Are you happy with Gueye coming back? Do you appreciate what he brings? Do you appreciate that he infinitely improves Everton? But are you also a little bit disappointed, or not disappointed, but just angered by the way in which this football club is run? And that isn't Garner's fault, and that isn't Frank Lampard's fault, and that isn't Kevin Thelwell's fault. And some people might say, yeah, Cam, but ignore that because we're bringing in a player that improves us. That's sound, but ignoring it is the reason as to why all of this sort of bottles up, and we get to a point where, again, the anger comes out in other ways. So, yeah, look, there you go. One thing I do want to say before we finish, Eugene's put it in the comments, I'm going to reference it as well. Massive congratulations to the Lionesses yesterday on their Euros win against Germany. They won 2-1. Watched the game. It was a fantastic performance, fantastic result. I've watched the parade today. And although I'm not a massive nationalist and I'm not big on England and England football and this, that and the other, it was amazing to see a group of players, a group of professional footballers who weren't consoled by ego, weren't consoled by money, were just happy to be there. Clearly a massive camaraderie between the squad, the manager, the players, and ultimately have just lived their dreams and are an inspiration for thousands and thousands of young boys and, more importantly, young girls is to getting into football in this country. And it was brilliant. It'll be brilliant for, I'm sure a lot of people watching will have young daughters and nieces and sisters and stuff like that who will have watched that yesterday and went, wow, I want to be a footballer. That's amazing. And that is obviously absolutely fantastic to see, of course. And a big congratulations to the Lionesses yesterday on that win. But anyway, look, we are going to finish it there then. If you have enjoyed this one, please do hit that like button. A massive thank you all for watching. Big thanks to everybody for getting involved in the live comments. Really do appreciate it. If you're watching as a YouTube video, leave your thoughts down below and we'll get involved with as many of them as we can. Yeah, there you go. Garner looks set to return. Are we happy? Are we not happy? Are we a bit pissed off with the club? Or are we just thinking, yeah, bring him back, he's boss, and he'll improve us? Let me know. Big thank you all for watching. If you have enjoyed it, leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and we'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues. Cheers for watching. See you after.